there, Any Solace Patreon Sage. Thank you for stopping by and checking out one of my intuitive readings for Sacred Union, aka for some people the Twin Flames. In my readings, I don't use traditional tarot in the traditional way. Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine are not gender specific, and I do not align my readings with astrology or with forecasts around money or even dating or love. So I don't do readings. It's all about sacred union in the universe that I'm in. I'm on a sacred union journey, and I really appreciate sharing this information with the entire collective. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to be doing a extended reading. There's a lot going on though here, and we'll see. And I may read from some of the books for the Animal Spirit Guidebooks because these are relatively new to me. I don't tend to use those cards as often as I use the Fairies Oracle. Okay, so here's what we have. This is actually going to be ambulance. This reading is primarily for the Divine Feminine and where she is in the union and where she is seeking to maintain her balance, and where the Divine Masculine is in the union and how he is going through a cycle right now that is challenging the balance of the sacred union, which he of course is free to do as she is to do. And the trust in the sacred union process and in the energies that are exchanged and what gets co-created is that ultimately it's all about healing and wholeness. So the first card we have out for the Divine Feminine, let me look. This is the Divine Feminine in this reading, and this is the oyster. Patient, secret keeper, hiding inner treasures. The focus and determination of the oyster is unmatched. Anything an oyster personality puts their mind to, they achieve with grace and charm. The only problem is, oyster types often take their inner gifts for granted. They become shy or doubtful, and this can lead to withdrawing or protecting their deepest desires and life's work. When the oyster card appears, it's important to reveal your inner treasures. What is it you've been hesitant to share? The world is waiting to see. So for the Divine Feminine, with this energy in balance, you're going to feel blissed, you're going to feel generous, and you're going to feel masterful. If you're feeling out of balance with this energy, a way to bring yourself back into balance within the union with this energy is to share something. And you will know best, if you're using your inner gifts and treasures, you'll know best what it is that you need to share. And for the Divine Feminines, we always have to be mindful of the balance that we also don't want to overshare or overgive, not even in a sacred union. Now, next out we have the butterfly for the Divine Feminine. It's a very beautiful card. I do love this deck. I just tend not to use it as often because the storytelling can get a little complicated. So, the butterfly, undergoing great change and transformation. This is you right now, Divine Feminine. The energy of the butterfly is with us during periods of transition, since air is the element of the heart. This change usually involves relationships, or if you love your job, perhaps your career. Since transition is accompanied by some amount of discomfort, be extra patient and kind during this time, especially if the butterfly is you, Divine Feminine. Let solid friends and activities support you like a cocoon. Commit to one daily routine, a meal, a practice, a meditation, done at the same time and place, and this will do wonders for lifting your butterfly spirits. All right, so divine feminine, you're in this energy in balance. When you're in balance, it's cheerful and graceful. When you're out of balance, you are feeling fragile and frustrated. And so I think it's appropriate that this card is out now because of the imbalances that are coming from the divine masculine. So the recommendation for you, divine feminine, is to just commit to a simple daily routine or practice and just stick to it until you can feel that your union dynamic has shifted again into balance. Now, for the divine masculine, Crow. This is a wonderful, wonderful card. It represents, in terms of anybody's energy, divine masculine or divine feminine, spiritually strong, creative, and watchful. The crow has long been a symbol of magic. Now, for some of us, for me in particular, magic is not necessarily desirable. Co-creation is always welcome. Magic, not so much. A crow personality is drawn to the supernatural and has a gift for seeing the unseen, knowing the unknown. It is said that the crow holds within its mind's eye the three realities, past, present, and future. So this is probably why the divine feminine is feeling out of balance, because time is fluid, and this is a problem. So if one side of the union is really anchored in idea of past, present, and future, and the other side of the union is fluid in time, there's going to be imbalance. So this could explain a lot for you right now, divine masculines and divine feminines. Crow energy is potent and should only be tapped into when the mind is clear. That's very important to remember. Those with crow tendencies must balance their lives with a healthful diet, joyful friends, and regular self-study. So when in balance, this is a person, you divine masculine or divine feminine, with very psychic, very strong, and very clear. But when you're out of balance, you become ungrounded and hypersensitive. And like the oyster, it's a good idea to engage in daily meditation practice. Now, next out for the divine masculine, we have the octopus. And I've actually never had this card come out in a reading before, but this is very, very interesting. Reaching, yearning, lacking boundaries and direction. The octopus signifies a wonderfully perceptive mind paired with a lack of healthy boundaries. Unfortunately, this results in well-intended but messy relationships. The octopus entwines itself into other people's business and shares their own without restraint. They believe that that's what it means to be close. If you notice after spending time with someone that you feel drained or uneasy, the presence of octopus is at play. Begin to establish healthy boundaries, be patient and firm. It may be a very old habit and difficult to change. So when in balance, you, divine masculine, in this reading, or divine feminine, if you are recognizing this as being your energy right now, you are interested, engaged, and intelligent. When out of balance, you become needy, clingy, and you lack courage. And to bring yourself into balance, you might want to consider spending some time alone and engaging in talk therapy or coaching to get you through looking deeper into some of the wounds that are contributing to your having weak boundaries or unhealthy boundaries. Okay, so here's what I'm seeing here. I think that there's a real interesting dynamic happening between the union, and some of this is relating to what we could call old paradigm 3D construct masculine energy and new paradigm 5D and beyond earth energies for the divine feminine. So we're having a kind of a imbalanced transition of this side, you divine masculine, seeking to raise your vibration, or seeking an energy level that helps you feel alive and connected. Now the question is, what do you feel connected to? And in this instance, the divine masculine is feeling connected to the energy of magic, which is manifestation that is about service to self. And it's invested with the energy of the octopus, which is questionable boundaries and questionable patterns of intimacy. So, and that can be reflective of codependency. So when you add codependency to service to self manifestation, yes, that's absolutely going to throw a sacred union relationship out of balance, and it's going to take quite a bit of work to bring that back to center. As I will maintain, whatever is being felt or experienced on one side of the union is also going to be mirrored and felt and experienced on the other side of the union. So we have two energies moving in really different frequencies here, which is a very uncomfortable scenario for both parties, and they're not on the same page. So in that regard, we're looking at separation. Now, the energies that are kind of babysitting the separation right now are the sea serpent and the lion. And that's a function of the sacred union, that there would be energies aligned to maintain the connection, even though it's imbalanced and even though there are day-to-day transitions and challenges that are arising within the union. So let's look at sea serpent. Sea serpent is one of the energies that's considered one of the energies of the ether. You can see it typically represents the energy of the Ouroboros, the snake that is eating its own tail. And I happen to think that that's positive in the sense that this is the snake devouring its own stories that are related to the practice of magic, its own stories that are related to dynamics of emotional and psychological states of separation that upend unions that are seeking balance and unions that have come together. And the work now is how do you, what would be the word I want to use, steward your union and allow that messiness to happen. So the sea serpent is healing emotional wounds and expressing desires. The sea serpent represents the energy of expression. Whether it's emotions, creativity, sensuality, or desire, the sea serpent helps us move and direct our energy into a healthy current. When the essence of this card is in balance, we express ourselves creatively and sexually without fear or shame. We know what we desire most. Our hearts are at ease, our hearts are at ease, and our relationships are meaningful and enduring. We loosen the grip of self-judgment, and we let the cool waters of forgiveness in to heal our wounds. When the energy of the sea serpent is not yet activated, our emotions and creativity are left in the muddy waters. The current of expression stagnates in some area of our lives, and in other places it floods. It is important to remember, I'm going to just put this here for a minute because I have to turn the page. So this is going to work out. It is important to remember, no matter what the waters of our emotional lives look like, the sea serpent loves us just the same. Like a mother, maybe, she wraps herself around us in a gesture of protection. She supports us as we learn to express our true natures. Perhaps, but that's what's given as the information for this card. And it is in the position of stewarding the union. So we're going to leave that there. And then next we have the lion energy. the energy that we can associate with the lion. Okay. So this is interesting. Here's lion, patient, regal, a complete master. The lion is a master of the fire element and the living mascot of self-transformation. A lion personality dedicates their life to personal and spiritual growth. This dedication inspires some and intimidates others. Therefore, the lion is respected by all, but known intimately by few. Some mistake the lion as hard to access or aloof, yet those with a keener eye know better. Lions are observant, stealth, and precise in their words and actions. They do not waste energy or resources. This card reminds us that self-mastery is available to all, no matter where our quest begins. So when in balance, this card represents peace and strength. And when it's out of balance, it is an energy of being withdrawn, perhaps too serious. And again, what energy do we want to support our patient regal mastery with? And that is friendship, and also a regular practice of meditation or self-reflection, or feeling our connection to source, and feeling our balance within ourselves, and feeling that we can hold and just nurture that balance no matter what our sacred union counterpart is up to. Okay, so I think this is very interesting for me, because here we have this sea serpent is like, okay, all right. Let's get the lion in on this, because we're going to need the lion energy to balance this out. And so then you have this dynamic going on. And this is to preserve the union and to keep the counterparts from going into another complete cycle of permanent separation, because we're on our last go-round here. This is ascension. So if the separation becomes permanent, neither counterpart will ascend. And I think the Divine Feminine is more aware of that and willing to acknowledge that reality than the Divine Masculine. The Divine Masculine would prefer to perhaps be in a situation where the union was very clear and concrete, and the relationship was plain to see and understand and grasp, but that's process. And so I feel in this instance the Divine Feminine is really holding this energy of mastery. And she's holding the balance and working very hard not to succumb to doubt, and to be in a space where she can recognize that this energy represents a lot of interference coming into the union from a lot of different places, some of which is just from the Divine Masculine. But when we're in this state of consciousness, we're open to being influenced by other frequencies and energies that we may not be able to see, recognize, or discern. So that's kind of where things are at right now. So Divine Feminines, if this is resonating with you and you're feeling that your Divine Masculine is throwing off some shadow choices, some shadow behavior, which these cards indicate to me that he or she is, just be aware of that. Just be aware of that and focus on yourself and your ascension process without closing down. But this is when you need to maintain healthy boundaries and respect and cherish and honor and love yourself, while the Divine Masculine is working through some more shadow issues. And the other cards came up which seem to verify this perspective. Okay, so next we're looking at what are the energies on the Divine Feminine side that are supporting her being able to maintain her inner balance and to stay focused on herself in a self-loving way, and to remain in her heart energy and in forgiveness and compassion and grace for herself and both her and her counterpart. So we have unity. So the divine feminine right now, if that's you, you are really very, very deeply connected to the sense of unity, to source within yourself, and that's beautiful. You're also very, very consciously aware, with the help of the singer of transfiguration, the challenges that are faced in this union. You've been through them. You know your divine masculine is in an imbalanced state right now, and that's because he's in shadow and he's dealing with a deep, deep wound. And the wound that he is dealing with is reverberating and poised to trigger you in a deep wound of your own core wounding. So the fairy godmother is here to say, okay, let's not everybody go to their separate corners and completely disconnect. Let's recognize what's going on, and let's be patient, and let's just remember that the union begins with you. And so divine feminines, this is you just kind of kicking back and knowing that deeper transformation is at work for both of you and in both of you, and you kind of have to trust that process even when it's uncomfortable, and even when you need to generate a healthy boundary physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, energetically with your counterpart, because you're protecting the union from your side of the dynamic. All right, now for the masculine side of the dynamic, this is interesting. This is very interesting to me because it reflects where the divine masculine is trying to place and center himself within the union, and he's not quite sure how to do it. He's reverting to past patterns of relationship. So here we have Singer of the Chalice, which is beautiful in terms of the flow of unconditional love. And here we have the divine masculine. Here you are, divine masculine, presenting as your wise, sage, embodied self. And you're loving this because you're feeling very connected to your heart energy. And you want to share your heart energy. And you've been in a dynamic where you feel that you have been trying to share this energy with your divine feminine counterpart, when in fact you haven't. And there's this sense of wanting to kind of get this right. And what this shows me is that there's a disconnection here, even though the heart center is open, from knowing, from discernment, who is your divine counterpart and who isn't. So this is the energy for me of the divine masculine. If this is you, divine masculines, you may be taking that really beautiful awakening of your heart center, and you want to share that, and you want to share that in a way that isn't going to hold you accountable, or in the same kind of intimacy that your divine feminine counterpart will hold you. So you may have made a decision to move into an entanglement with another feminine energy because the deep intimacy and the healing work of being in union doesn't feel like it's getting you anywhere or bringing you the reward that you expect to be having right now for all the beautiful and dedicated work that you have indeed done on yourself. So there's some patterns that the divine masculine is going to be working on clearing up. And I think that one of those may be difficulties with communication and difficulties with knowing how to communicate, which includes taking the lead, and which includes being very mindful of making assumptions, and which includes not being afraid to ask for information, for clarification, and for to ask questions about emotions, not just about practical matters, where, what, when, and how, and who, but emotions. What are you feeling? I'm feeling that you're feeling this. Am I tuning in, or am I making an assumption? Risking asking those kinds of questions of your partner, if you're in physical contact with them, is really valuable, because it will help you identify your own feeling states. This is a challenge for many divine masculines. You don't yet recognize your own feeling states. And when you move into a feeling state area that's unfamiliar, and right now what's going on with union is unfamiliar to everybody, you're going to choose to just go back to what you have known in the past, because it just feels simpler and easier, and it's less work, and it's less complicated, and it takes up less of your time and energy. And that's a choice that anyone can make at any time in this journey of union. And divine feminines, we can make those choices too, and we do. All right, so next out for the divine feminine, woo, she is working it. We have the bright mother, which is all about co-creation and sacred sensuality, and feeling whole and alive and free and sovereign in one's body. And that's backed up by the singer of healing. There's a lot of healing right now with the divine feminines. We're continuing to heal our emotional and etheric body traumas, our heartbreak traumas, and the ideas that we have to discard, so that we really do let go of old patterns and habits, and have no need to call them back. That's a slow journey. And for some of you divine feminines, your divine masculine isn't having the strength or the boundaries to wait it out. He's just going to go share his heart and fiery sword with whoever will make themselves available. And it's about what he needs to make him feel good about himself. So here you have the card of ecstasis, and this is the gorgeous sexual energy of sacred union. So here the divine feminine is really, she's in great shape here. She is in the energy of sacred sensuality, co-creation, healing, and the ecstasy of being in union and being open to the bliss that is possible when she and her divine masculine are in union, in connection, and in balance with one another. It's just stunning. It's a stunning energy. I mean, there are no words to describe what that feels like. Those of you who have experienced it, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we have that over here supporting the divine feminine, staying in balance as best she can within the union dynamic right now. And then we have out for the divine masculine, what came out first was the undressing of the salad, which is the energy of accomplishing the impossible. And we have the energy of Solus, which is the epitome of the great electric masculine in his role as the electric half of electromagnetic. There he is. And here we have the singer of connection, which is saying, you know, this is great, but this has to remain connected to your divine feminine in order for you to do your ascension and to, you know, have this be your final go-round. And while that feels like it's an impossible task to master, you're in the position to master it. So there's a lot of support for the divine masculine balancing out this tremendous new energy. Here you can see his heart center is open. Here you can see, his fiery sword energy is actually in balance. If you want to look at these things as two cones, one pointing up and one pointing down, that is the formation of the beginning of a sacred master key, which is the feminine and masculine and electromagnetic balance. And here you have the material energy of getting this right, or getting this in balance, or getting this expressed through this beautiful heart chakra energy in the physical body and in the physical realm. So this is cool. This is helpful. And then I asked, what is the difficulty that the divine masculine is having right now? And what is the energy that the divine feminine is going to be holding to keep the union in balance? Now, what came out was or indecision, and the glooming doom loom, right? So here we have this energy, which really is a beautiful depiction of someone who is in victim, in shadow, in an energy of abandonment and confusion and feeling lost and wobbly and unsure and certainly disempowered. So there's this energy, and this is combined with indecision. So when you have the divine masculine, you guys, if you're feeling like this with regard to who is my divine feminine? I thought it was her, but now I'm not so sure it's her. This is the reflection of being disconnected, and this is the difficulty with the energy of Crow. So here, this is what we've got. We've got the divine masculine energy right now being bookended by an octopus with unhealthy boundaries, and by a crow that is interested in manifesting for his or herself. So that's what we've got here. Feeling good at whoever's expense. Probably doesn't matter when you're in this energy. Feeling good is just what you really, really want to feel. And when you're in this energy, you're not going to be conscious enough to ask yourself, is this the best choice for me? Am I in a really healthy state of mind? And who am I hurting? Well, ultimately you're hurting yourself. So this becomes this cycle, a repeated looping of indecision and becoming ungrounded and disconnected, and then going into victim and going into shadow and disrupting the balance of the union. So that is pretty dynamic. And what we have here is on the divine feminine side, like you see this, you recognize it, you understand what's happening here. And so this isn't generating heartbreak for you. It's generating more mastery and a deeper trust in the mystery. And moving into a state of self-love where you've been there, you've been part of this energy, you recognize it, and that's how you know that your divine masculine is maybe looping around with this right now. And so you've got at least the alchemist energy, and it is not your job to tap either of these characters with your magic wand. You can create a space where that energy is available to them for them to do their own tapping of their magic wand by going into their deepest connection. And here we have the singer of connection supporting that. And learning what needs to be learned here so that these shadow elements are healed. and they're no longer bringing disturbance and imbalance and disrespect to the depth of connection in divine sacred union. But that's a process, and some people will be successful with that, and some people maybe won't, right? So that's what we've got. There is something I want to add to this reading, is that in this dynamic that the divine masculine is in, he may have thinking he could provoke you into being jealous. And if that is what is going on, that is a really significant sign of codependency issues and of a really unhealthy boundaries. So I just wanted to share that because I think that may be some of what's going on here, that there's an energy to provoke a sense of drawing the divine feminine into a dynamic that's based on an unhealthy boundary that would move into a different relationship to provoke the energy of jealousy. So divine masculines, if you're playing with that hand grenade, for sure don't pull the pin, and really consider, really consider not throwing that energy around inside of your own bubble, because while it may create some damage for the divine feminine, it's not going to evoke a response of love. It may evoke a response of separation and concern for your well-being that is not what you're really seeking. It's not going to bring you the wholeness and happiness that you want in your union. It's going to generate problems and difficulties that will be complicated to work out. So that's not mastery. That's for sure not mastery. And it's complicated, and I know that there are some divine masculines who, because of their age, like that might not be necessarily something a millennial would get into, because they have much more background of at least the availability of the information of what it's like to be emotionally intelligent with your life. So just put the grenades down and walk back into yourself and love yourself and feel the love that Source has for you, and allow that to fill you, and share that love with yourself. Share that beautiful heart open love with yourself. Fill yourself up. Fill yourself up and feel the beauty and the wisdom in that, and feel the connection. Feel the connection. And this will bring you, the energy will absolutely bring you to the divine, the sacred divine feminine counterpart that is truly yours. And you'll know. Now you may deny that knowing, but you will know. Okay, I wanted to just add that because I was feeling like there's a little chunk that hasn't been translated and needs to be. Here, and we have, for the reading for the divine feminine, is, this is going on right now. Take an opportunity to look at it, let it reverberate through you, and help you appreciate any energy dynamic in you that is reverberating across to your divine masculine, that is triggering his deep wound or his deep sense of insecurity and unworthiness. So much so that he's willing to make decisions to go and have himself feel not only mentally alive, but physically and sexually alive at your expense and at the expense of the union. So yeah, it's it's a challenge. It's a challenge, but we do have support for getting through it, and that's up to the Divine Feminine, how she's going to handle that. And one of the ways that I have found is helpful in working with these dynamics in sacred union is to just go into quiet meditation and get centered in your heart and just feel the love that you have for yourself and the love that you have for your divine masculine. Just feel it in your heart and let that reverberate through both of you. And don't do anything more than that. That's an astonishingly powerful thing to do. So you guys know I usually have these 3 cards here, and normally this is the position for the Divine Feminine, but there's something about crossing over and trading roles right now. So for guidance, this card came out for the Divine Feminine, and it is about holding this energy, which I've shown you in the cards, holding herself in her own heart center. This is the meditation. Divine Feminine, just sit in your heart center and just really feel the depth of your own wholeness and love and sovereignty, and just let that radiate out. And if you want to think about your divine masculine counterpart while you're doing that, that's pretty generous. And that's honoring these energies of unity, transfiguration. You can see these reflected in this card. And it's honoring the feminine aspect of the mother of creation here in her electric energy. In a way, for me, the fairy godmother is almost the counterpart to Soulless. Doesn't seem to be another feminine card. She of the Kruak doesn't really have a human face. So I really feel that the fairy godmother is kind of the feminine counterpart to this energy of Soulless, and I think so because she's holding the sacred master key in her magnetic energy field. So just trust this. Trust that this is who you are, and move forward from this place. You know, just being who you are in this beautiful, sacred, connected, divine energy, and allow the source wisdom and Gaia's wisdom to co-create with you. And perhaps in this kind of energy, the divine masculine will wake up and recognize that this is something that maybe it's shiny and it's glittery, but it's surrounded by darkness, and that this is what the union is about. And so there's a transformation that needs to happen from holding on to the world as if it was a glittery, shiny object that you could control, and moving into the heart space, which is allowing Source to be in control. Because this is the energy, the person with the unhealthy boundaries. Look at this. This is interesting, right? You've got this energy here being reflected in the brain neural matter of the brain of the octopus. It's like, it's about control. It's not about heart-centered, open, flowing, non-grasping energy. And the person who is in manifestation, service to self, truly does not have healthy boundaries. So we have to learn that. And some of us were not raised with healthy boundaries. We don't have this in our family history. We have to learn this the hard way. So Divine Masculine, if that's you, if this is you here and here, just trust that your Divine Feminine is doing her best to hold this energy here so you can make this transformation. She's going to do her best to just sort of hang out with you while you figure out what you need to do and when you need to do it, and who knows. Really seriously, folks, this is the last lifetime, so I wouldn't waste too much more time here. If I were you, Divine Masculine, I'd really get this worked out and move along. Now, what we have out from Source is focus. So this is this energy with the Divine Feminine. Again, we have the heart energy really moving and connected with Source and above the crown. And we have focus on Divine Feminine, focusing on yourself and staying in balance within you, and taking care of yourself and being loving, and then seeing what balance you're able to regain in the union and what feels good to you, and what will allow you to feel connected and energized and spiritually high and sexually passionate and high, but not at the expense of someone you love. Okay, so there's that. And then for the Divine Masculine, we have healing. And that seems to be a good idea. I like how this healing card is reflecting, if you can see this sphere with a person in it here, and this sphere holding the earth and the wings. Again, this is a really beautiful energy of transformation, and it is also healing this dynamic. Just take a look at that, see it for what it is. So I think this has been a pretty dynamic reading, and I appreciate the energies allowing me to connect with them and translate what's happening in real time. Timelines are moving and merging again, so there should be a sense of calm relaxation, like I'm just gonna do me and be loving and do my meditation and stay in my heart center and focus on who I am in my wholeness, because timelines are moving and merging again. So who knows what will be happening next week, but this is what's going on today. So this is the current energies for I will be uploading this probably Sunday. I have 2 new videos, but they didn't want to be one long deep dive video. So hopefully you'll watch both of them. They're not too long. Please do like, share, and comment. And there's no extended reading for this reading, but I did do an extended reading for yesterday's reading, Acting Out, which is more about this energy. Definitely reflecting still on this energy, and this is just coming up to the surface for healing. So yeah, okay, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me or an energy mentoring session, I am no longer doing, very rarely do I do active energy healing on someone. I used to do that and did that for such a long time, but we're all with the ascension journey. We really are now needing to be our own healers. So it's something that I will do, but it's more of guidance and facilitating you being your own healer. So I'm happy to assist people with that, and I do that all the time, and it is how I earn my living at this point. So I hope that explains the story, and there is a story here, and I hope that I've translated it well for you, and I look forward to you dropping by another time. Thanks, and take care.